Welcome, I'm the Autistic Modeler, and today we're going to be building the Ohio George Multi-Maverick by MPC. Round 2 was nice enough to send this over for a full build and review. So come on in, let's open her up, see what we get. The Autistic Modeler is proud to be partnered with Round 2 Models, the makers of great kits from AMT, MPC, and Polar Lights. Get yours today. Well, this is a pretty cool kit. Well, let's look at that box. I love the artwork. They're at a drag strip in local Anywhere USA. That's pretty cool. And according to this, it says you could change the wheelbase on it even after the Multi-Maverick is assembled. So you got your short wheelbase, regular like gasser class. And then you got your modified, altered class with a longer wheelbase. And as I understand it, even after it's completely assembled, you can switch fenders and suspension parts to lengthen or shorten this model, which that's pretty cool. Neat stuff. And then there's some of the options there. Got your drag racing seats, or GMC blower on our 429 semi-Hemi engine. Pretty cool. A racing drag chassis. Neat stuff. Let's look through the parts. Well, there's that body, and you can see right there you got separate fender pieces that can be removed and installed. I think I'm going to pick a selection and then glue it in. I'm not going to be moving around once it's built. At least that's what I'm going to do. You can do yours any way you like, but I'm going to glue mine firm. That way nothing gets misplaced down the road. So that Maverick body looks really good. I've owned a lot of Mavericks growing up. I had all the years, 69.5 through 74. I had all those different years, Maverick, 6-cylinders, V8s. One of my favorite cars. And then there's the interior. Interesting, it has 2 seats. Usually a drag car of this kind with a funny top like that, 1 seat. So well, that's cool. You can have a passenger go for a ride with you. Part of the firewall there. And the engine has fallen off the tree, but there's our engine halves there. This is part of the chassis, I'm assuming. One half of the transmission. The other must be on the tree still. And then there's our frame. Looks pretty straight. I think it's that'll come out of it if it's a little warpage. And all that. And there's our red taillights. Okay, there. And then there's part of the inner shroud part for the interior tub, like the protective part. A metal rod for the rear axles. And then here's our roll cage and everything. And then this goes over the front. This is a grill that comes with it. Our steering box and header pipes and whatnot. Pretty cool. There's the other half of that transmission right there. There's the blower drive belt. Our cylinder heads. Drive shaft. Little bitty drive shaft. I'm thinking that's a spoiler, I'm guessing. Not sure what this part is. Maybe part of the suspension, I'm guessing. Right here. Frame part. Part of our wheels there. There's our rear calipers for the rear wheels, for the brakes. And then there's part of our interior shrouding. And then this is the 2 different wheelbase fenders. So you'll have to read over your book and find out what length car you're going to decide to build. If you're going to build it as one assembled unit like I am. Otherwise, you could switch it out or whatnot. And then here's our chrome tree. Really nice looking. The front wheels look like Hellebrand wheels. You see that? That looks really good. And you got some like spoke racing wheels there. Really nice looking. Those 429 Boss looking valve covers there. Really small linkage pieces here, so let's gotta be careful getting them out of there. Tail lights. There's our grill. Now it has a design on this grill too So you can choose not to put that other piece on there, whatever you would like. There's our rear bumper. Nice looking chrome, really deep looking chrome there. Nice quality. There's our glass. Looks good. And then there's our tires. You get 2 pad printed M&H Race Masters. Nice. And then here's the other 2 right here. The front's really skinny. They're squishy. There. And then here's that decal sheet. And if you notice, it has the extra pieces, so you can paint up those separate fenders and decal it, and you can switch them in and out if you would like. Mr. Gasket, different versions there. Chapman Race Products of Chicago, Illinois. Hal Gilliam Ford. Malco Gasser. Neat stuff. And then here's our book. Right here. The Ohio George Multi-Maverick. This is a little brochure, came with it. And then here's our installing your engine. Right here. It says to slip, this is a little tip. It says slip that motor mount piece over the engine, looks like prior to transmission. So that's a little tip there you need to watch as you go along here. And then there's our rear suspension, our wheel assembly, and then how to install the wheelie bars and stuff like that. And then it has a template. That's interesting. So that way you can keep it nice and square, so it's not all cattywampus before you install it in the chassis. That is a great idea there. That's neat. I like that. And then there's our interior and roll cage. Now install it on the chassis. Front end with our moon tank for the fuel and everything else there. So some different pieces there. Now see again, these linkages matter on which version you're going to be used because they're different lengths there. And then there's a drive shaft right there. Again, drive shafts is going to be different depending on the length of your chassis, what you're going to do. So you got to be careful as you go along. So our interior, clear pieces. And then, yeah, that was a spoiler there, that piece. Our grill, rear pieces there. And then there's our altered or stock fenders, depending on how you're going to build yours. And then there's the decal placement instructions. And then the shaft till it opens, that pivots there. So this is a pretty cool kit. I'm excited to build it. I'm going to Googleize some pictures of this car. It was a real car that raced. So that was pretty cool. And when we come back, we'll get all started. So stick with me. Well, all right, it's that time again. That's right, final assembly. Let's take a look at it. Well, first, look at that Maverick body. That turned out really neat. I like how I two-toned that. Turned out pretty well. The real car was like a two-tone color like that, similar with that funky 70s paint job on it. And there's our parachute and our rear bumper, our glass piece there, and our interior surround. Now the chassis is really fiddly. I don't know why the linkages that they made move and stuff are so fragile. They were tough to deal with, so I glued mine in the short wheelbase position. And then while I was putting it together, it has two of these linkage rods for the steering, one longer than the other. So I went to use this short one. It was too short. The longer one fit perfectly with the short wheelbase. I don't know. So not really sure what's going on with that. There's our rear tire. Looks really good. M&H Race Master slicks look really good on there. And then there's our front wheel and tire. And on the grill, I decided against using this block off piece, even though I painted it. I went ahead and used a grill like this, and I made that center piece out of a piece of parts tree. Some of the lower line model Mavericks had that grill that looks similar to that, so I thought that looked pretty good. And then there's our support rod, and then the rear interior holding piece. And then when we come back, it'll be all finished, so stick with me. Here it is, the Multi-Maverick by MPC. This was a cool kit. I enjoyed putting together. It is a difficult kit. The kit is designed to have this multiple different wheelbases depending on what class the car ran. So the fender came with two different kinds, and then you can adjust the front suspension in or out depending on what length of wheelbase you want. I glued mine into the short wheelbase version. I thought that looked the best, and I didn't want anything adjustable, so I went ahead and just glued it in place. The front suspension is fiddly with all those small chrome bits and whatnot, but overall it turned out really neat. I really liked building it. It's fun, but you really have to take your time to get it to sit right and everything. There's no positive mount for the interior bucket to sit down on there, so you gotta, when installing it, I left the glue, I guess kind of damp enough that it's holding, but it's still, hard, so I can slide that around and move it so that way it gets a good seat and it looks pretty good. So you really got to take your time on this one to get the look down. So it was a fun build. It was very challenging, like I said. And let's take a look at that body off of there real quick. The body comes off very easily. There we go. And it's really detailed. That 429 engine went together really good. I really like those headers. The roll cage here was kind of odd shaped, so I wasn't familiar with how it went together, but I thought that separate belt and the chrome pieces was pretty ingenious, whoever designed that part of the kit. It looks really neat. I really liked building it. It was super fun. So, is it a first kit? No. Definitely get several kits under your belt before you decide to purchase this. Go ahead and buy it. Keep it in your stash. But this is definitely challenging even for the experienced builder like myself. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you were come along with me and helped me build it. And until next time, I'm the Autistic Modeler. Happy modeling.